Alrighty, hello everybody and welcome back to Jay's one key event for The Great Escape. We are back after a pretty long week, but it is the weekend. Welcome to Saturday, everyone. We've made it, and what better way to start things off than a doubleheader to kick off your wonderful Saturday we have over here for The Great Escape here. This will be, I believe, a winner's bracket match, I think. Yes, this is a winner's bracket match to kick things off. It is going to be hz404 versus Sleeby Maddy. Streaming on this Twitch stream. On the other side, on the B stream, I'm pretty sure, there is no ping for it yet, but it's Peaceful versus Woey, which is a loser's bracket match happening over there, if you want to check that out in the meantime. But for now, focusing our attention on this match, and map pools have changed. We now have a second long note. We've added a third hybrid to the pool. Everything else stays the same. And you can see here two very notable players. I think we're starting to get into the point in this tournament where we don't really need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to some of these players, because they're just so well known. Like, not even just like in this tournament alone, like their history goes back a lot, and hz404 definitely one of them as well. They're very, very strong, almost up to the likings of the Grape Tea, who is our first seed in this tournament. Very, very strong player, one of the many that have converted from the Taiko community that gave their shot at one key and have absolutely obliterated the scene. Well, I'm unsure about Maddy, if she relatively stood in the one key scene or, you know, swapped from Taiko. I have no idea how that one turned out. But anyway, heading into our first pick, HG immediately opting for speed 2, and my heart kind of sank for a second. I thought I forgot to turn on Score V2 because I saw HG at 100% for quite a while, and I thought, do I have to abort the lobby for something? I thought I had Score V2 on, but nope. They were Rainbow 300ing everything. But anyway, opening up with this map, going for speed 2 obviously, so gonna see if they can really catch off Maddy here on the speed component. And right now, both players absolutely demolishing this map. And right now, AG still 0.96 for them, while Maddy managing to keep HG at bay, only less than 10,000 points. That will start to balloon a bit more into that 10,000 range, but HG actually trips up, finds a break, and now Maddy going to have the lead here. Her consistency is god-like in some of these one key scenarios, and she can really catch up here in these scenarios, and that has been her main motive throughout these very physical maps. Is just keep that combo and make sure your accuracy is still in range to where you can like come out of nowhere and snipe when needed. And with that, Maddy not looking to trade anything back, capitalizing off that miss from HG and immediately going to snag the first point and the first break point. Someone get 911 on speed dial in case Maddy gives me a heart attack once again, because my god. Like, look at this. Both players matching 200 counts. It came down to that singular miss. HZ, 48 300s. That is a crazy score. And both players managing to FC on a map, or not FC, managing to get insane scores like this is crazy. Maddy with the 984K. Very solid ratio. Just, it was that singular miss from HG that done it all. And now Maddy already up 1 point here early on. And although it's not a 1st to 5 anymore, we have upgraded to a 1st to 6 best of 11 deal. And Maddy going to jump into the hybrids here. Hybrid 2 will be her pick here. And honestly, makes sense that you would want to go for a pick like this if you are unaware of how Maddy's game plan usually goes. She likes to hang around the hybrid range / LNs because she's very strong in that LN / hybrid range. Well, we did see hz opt for a speed pick early on. She does also enter those speed picks as well, but I feel like maybe just have to adjust things here, especially when you're up against a very strong player like hz. You're gonna have to kind of reinvent your strategy here, but I think sticking to those hybrids is a very good idea for Maddy here. And maybe just to see, I mean, these two players have been in the one key scene for years. They definitely can read each other's strategy, and right now I think Maddy kind of just knows maybe hz could potentially be a bit more weak on that LN, or maybe just even can maybe beat hz in the LN game. But right now these players are, I think this will probably be how this match will turn out for the vast majority of things, where it's just on the tip of the scoreboard going either way here. And right now it's on the side of hz by just pure 300s here, managing to take out the ratio game a bit early on this pretty brutal hybrid map. Lots of these gallops here, lots of these LNs, and these bursts in between. And some of these release sections could potentially trip up hz. I know Maddy is also very strong in that release department, but right now hz managing, actually I think picking up a 200, a pretty early 200 that will give Maddy a bit of a lead here heading into the back half of the map. And some of these bursts here could be a choking point, but right now nobody finding any issue whatsoever. Both of these players dialed in and crossing that 1,000 combo mark. Some of these more faster doublets coming in now, not gonna catch up anybody. This is probably where you hold your breath, just pray to the one key gods, pray to your space bar, your right shift, left shift, just your keybind that you don't mess up here, because this is probably the most crucial point of the map. And right now, this is a less than 500 point differential. This is by a 200th of a percentage, and oh my goodness, now we're virtually tied. Heading into the final quarter, no, don't do this to me again. Please, oh no, there's a break from Maddy. And that was a ginormous one too. 9,000 points now into 10,000 points. But hey, there is still map left to go. Maddy can make a very fast recovery, but if we don't see something fast from hz, then that will be game for this map. And I mean, this is a very LN heavy section, so it could happen, but if it doesn't, hz will run away with this lead and will capitalize off of that miss, and back-to-back breakpoints to open up this match. And oh, even then, oh, it would have been a close call if those misses weren't there. It would have been very close. But very great scores from both sides. Very impressive. 994 with 2 200s and 1 100. Yep. You know what? I'm not even gonna lose my mind over that. That's just typical hz stuff. I had a very good score from Maddy here as well, even with those misses. Only 1 200 found in that entire map. And hz, this is a pick I'm not very comfortable with. hz picking with. I thought maybe they would capitalize the speeds early, but gonna stick for the hybrids. Interesting. I mean, the differential of that last map was just purely off of one singular miss and a couple of other extra judgments, and I think hz had the ratio nailed down to a T in contrast to Maddy. But Maddy was the one, outside of that miss, only found a singular 200, while hz found a bit more. So this is going to be a bit of a, I would say a bit of a risky pick. kind of like a gamble for hz, just because of how strong I know Maddy can do on these LN/hybrids. But I mean, seeing how Hybrid 2 went for them, it wasn't a total landslide. It came down to practically the ending. But we're gonna have to see here, will things pay out in the same way it did last map, or will we see 3 breakpoints in a row? As, ooh, Maddy playing that section a bit rough. Gonna drop a lot of judgments there, break and a couple 100s. That will swing this lead by quite a wide margin in favor of hz. And this is a very short map. This is one of the maps you don't want to find stuff like this on, as it's just, once you find one, it just kind of just piles on and on, as it's very hard to kind of get back into the groove of things here. And now Maddy, 26,000 points in the hole, managing to climb back up to a 99, almost up to that 400 combo cap. That will ease things in the meantime, but I mean, we're gonna have to see some trade backs here from hz if Maddy wants a shot here to take a lead back here of any sort. But I mean, seeing what hz is doing, still holding a 99.94 through all of this map, just casually sitting. This guy's gaining accuracy on this map. Yeah, okay. And even with Maddy's best efforts here to really make, I mean, she's doing an excellent comeback and recovery of those very nasty judgments we saw earlier, but it's just, oh my goodness. A V1 double S from hz, 53 300s. And also a very solid score for Maddy as well. 99.4 on a map like this is crazy. And also managing to keep a, like, I'm pretty sure she was down in that 98 range to really start things off. Climbing back up to a 99.4. Very, very great score from Maddy. And, oh, was it a keyboard issue? That could have been, honestly, that did look like potentially something hardware related, honestly. But never know, as we are going to head into the next pick here. Thankfully, it is Maddy's pick. So I feel LNs will actually, yeah, okay. This too also, but I mean, honestly, yeah, I feel like this would be a good pick. Speed 1, as like I said, in previous rounds, she has stuck to the speeds early on and then slowly made her way to those LNs and hybrids. So gonna exhaust our speed picks here with a 260, how will I say this properly without triggering the neurons of the people we have in the chat. You solemnly swear to not, chat room, do you solemnly swear to not say it? Um, 264 plus 3 BPM. Headed into this map. Pretty fast map, and seeing how Speed 2 went, it was really just a singular miss from hz that got Maddy on the board. And honestly, history repeats itself. So if we see the same pattern of what Speed 2 was, then if Maddy can keep that consistency and just stay on hz's tail throughout this entire map, we could see the same pattern happen. But there's going to be some 200s from Maddy as, oh, hitting pretty late on this. Maybe it's just a bit too fast for her liking at some sections here. Maybe timing those bursts just a bit off, but unfortunately, just a little bit of a rough play there. As now this lead will grow to 15,000 points. And kind of here we're having a break section here to kind of see how your opponent is like. 99.95 from hz. Honestly, what do there's really no point in reinventing the wheel, honestly. This guy is on a whole other level. This is the beginning of the Taiko Empire in the one key scene. Well, it's actually been in the talks for about 2 years now. Ever since JOKE4, or maybe even since the dawn of Joke. I don't know. But anyway, heading into the ending here. Both players on an insane run. Unfortunately, it's just Maddy picking up these extra 200s and hz staying absolutely dialed in, learning from their mistakes on speed 2, keeping the full combo intact, the V1SS intact. No! No! What? I thought that was a V1SS! hz404. 34 300s. A 996. A near 997. And a singular 100. A singular 100 and still getting a high 990. And also, shout out to Maddy as well. Very impressive score there. Managing to keep the FC intact. Just a bit behind, especially with, I mean, I don't know if you can, honestly, it's once in a lifetime you see a score like that. So, very tough, but definitely good, impressive scores nonetheless. But underway with the next pick coming out of hz here. Going to be Rice 3, so going to dive into that Rice section now for the first time, actually, this match. And I am actually going to be a bit interested to see how this one will go. As I feel maybe hz just finding the comfort and maybe just seeing how the ratio game can go for Maddy, because, I mean, their ratio on Rice, very, very good. But I mean, Maddy is also very, very good at the Rice sides as well. It's like, it's one of those occasions where both these players are just good at everything. It just comes down to who can get the better judgments, like who can get the least amount of 300s, who can avoid getting more 200s. It's like almost once in a blue moon these players miss on charts like these. But anywho, heading into this map. Yeah, it is going to be a pure and this is what hz it was wanting to avoid, and there's another one coming out of hz. 12,000 points now in favor of Maddy. 2 early breaks here to start off this map, and we're seeing the repeat of Speed 2. And now Maddy, 16,000 points in her favor. We still have map left to go, but that is a very solid score lead for the time being, as if she can just capitalize off of this and just hold on. She can take a 200 because she is balancing this lead off of 2 whole misses. And it's taking hz a bit to climb up to that 400 combo cap. This map doesn't really have that much notes to really climb up to that 400 combo cap until pretty later on, but and missing around that halfway mark too, about where our break was, that will give Maddy around 17,000 points to work with here. And if she can keep up with this full combo and everything intact, because hz is climbing up very, very fast, kind of like Maddy does a very great job recovering from accuracy. hz is managing to absolutely destroy the game as well too here.
but it's just the difference of those 2 misses is what's going to boil down to. As this lead shrinks to only 16,000 points, as long as Maddy keeps that FC intact, she can ride home safely with an extra point in her pocket. And ladies and gentlemen, Maddy taking another break point here, and we have a whole new game. As once again, capitalizing off of those little mistakes, that is what she does best on maps like these. It's more or less the strategy than the... Yeah, it's more or less that strategy here, and just keeping the pedal to the metal here, just keeping that foot on the gas, making sure that even if trailing behind, just praying to the one-key gods that hz finds the littlest of slip-ups and then pulls the rug. And now 1 point away from tying things up here, and what better way than to go into this LN pool. Basically, what Maddy is pretty much best at, honestly, is the LNs. She's notorious for her very strong release game, and I would reckon this map be a very, very nasty release pick here to really test hz's LN release. It's kind of memed upon in this one-key community that LN could be a Tycho player's worst nightmare. It is heavily memed upon here, but I mean, some of these players have managed to really bust those myths. So, and I believe hz is actually one of those players that have busted those myths. But going up against one of the LN greats, it's just gonna be, like I said, pretty much the same as what we have been seeing these past few picks. Just who can keep that better ratio, even 200 counts. And right now, Maddy picks up, I believe, a 200 there on one of the LNs. But hz slider breaks! And that's not to a severity of a miss, but that's still a combo break for hz. This map is quite long, though, 3.5 minutes. But still, this is Maddy's entire game plan now. Just to make sure you cannot give any leverage to your opponent. Make sure you stay dialed in and capitalize off of the tiniest mistakes that occur. And right now, she is currently pretty much, that is what she will start doing here. As now, although hz is starting to slowly climb up that accuracy, it is still the difference of a singular 50. And if not more, I think it was just a slider break though, so. But as we head into a little bit of our, into like this LN section here, this is where things can get a bit tricky as Maddy picks up a few 200s that will shrink the lead down as hz gets that accuracy advantage, but it's still a difference of just a slider break now. And now things are getting a bit dicey as it is 100th of a percentage of difference. 5.8 thousand points of difference. You have to imagine just how Maddy feels right now. And oh boy, this final quarter will really decide it all. And both players really need to tread with caution going into this final section. Lots of these swings, lots of these bursts, where even if, like, also just how nervous you feel, especially if you're hz with that miss, oh, you're really gonna have to be extra cautious. And patterns like these can be the easiest to slip up on, but right now, no one finding anything. And if that's the pattern we see, Maddy can safely run away, but we still have this part to go. There is still a map left. It doesn't end until this playfield disappears and the scores are submitted. And 4,000 points of difference. There's still this ending though. This is probably what can catch up. Maddy picks up some 200s, but so does hz. And Maddy is
going to tie things up here. Oh my god. Not again. Not again. We're not seeing this again. Oh my god. No, no. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. No. Where's the script? Do we have a script somewhere? Jay, where do you keep the script? I need to know. This is the third match. Well, I'm not gonna say it here, but this is potentially like the third match here where we have seen Maddy in the midst of just absolutely dominating right now, and she has just tied this game. What once was a 3-1 match, we are now tied at 3, but it is now HZ's pick. Probably gonna stick to that rice department here. Probably gonna go for one of the more denser rices. I could definitely see be the pick, as maybe I don't think HZ would want to just try to go for one of the more easier rices where it's just pure ack, as rice 4 will be the pick here coming out of HZ, which I can definitely see. As this is an absolute banger. So hats off to HG for picking an absolute banger. And here we go, opening up. This is a very short map as well, only a minute and a half. It's probably one of our most physical rices we have here. I feel HG not only really just going to focus on that rice component of just physicality, but also going to look in that density or like that act range here. And Maddy going to pick up an early break here, and I feel like that was a very nasty one too. She dropped down to that 97 range, and HZ right now just 99.98, yeah? What is this man doing? Genuinely. As Maddy picks up another break, I think, there, and yeah, honestly, with this map being this short, I feel like this is what HZ would go for, honestly, as I think Maddy's starting to really see here. Can't really do much. You are going up against a guy who has a 99.97. Wow. 999 as well. Only 15 300s. Okay. Alright. We get it. This is just... wow. What am I... How come I'm the one that always gets the nail biters? How come I'm the one that sees history in the making? This is crazy. Also, a reminder that this was a doubleheader, but now the B stream match has ended. Peaceful did beat Wowie 6-1. So Wowie will unfortunately be eliminated from the tournament. As for Peaceful, which, fun fact, Peaceful was one of the players that Maddy knocked into the losers bracket via a tiebreaker.
I believe that was in actually last round in the quarterfinals. As they will drop down into that as Peaceful will move on to their semifinals conditional to verse either Fion or M Biscuit whenever that match happens. And LN1 gonna be the pick here. Honestly, I feel like, yeah, this is what I feel like Maddy would go for, honestly. What could potentially be her last pick of this match, and she says gamble. Sure, you know what? I'm fine with gambling. Gambling's freaking awesome. But here we go. Headed into our LN1 pick here. And I mean, if you're Maddy right now, you really have to just... Those nerves are there. You're probably going to really feel them around here. And I mean, this isn't Maddy's first rodeo when being in a situation like this. If you have seen her previous matches, she is prone to these comebacks. She's done it not once, but twice. Against Assail Master Ola in the round of 16, and then against Peaceful in the quarterfinals. So, and both of those matches gave me heart attacks. It has been an absolute, to quote a viewer in the chat, the most hectic tournament experience out of everyone else playing in Joke. That is a very, very incredible way to summarize how her runs have been going. And I mean, it's still going strong. And anyway, back to this map here. This is a pretty lengthy chart, 3 minutes. And right now, both these players absolutely nailing that opening quarter. And just Maddy just a bit behind off of just 300, so nothing really too much to write home about, as we still have a lot of this map left to go. As we're out of the first third, here comes some pretty tricky releases that could throw off players if they're not careful. And now Sleeby's starting to flicker here as HG starts to kind of drop their act down just a tiny bit. Nothing too much still, but as these players are now just 100th of a percentage of difference. These LNs are very tight to release off of, and they have been absolutely dialed in throughout this entire map. It is a practical tie now, pretty much. But as these things finalize out now, HZ 99.86, 200ths ahead of Maddy, and we still have this back half to go. Oh my goodness. And now Maddy is making it a 100th of a percentage of difference. It is... This is way too close for comfort. This is just... Oh my goodness. And we still have a quarter left to go of this, by the way. Just here we go. I believe there's still another drop that will be the decider of where this point will land. And if you're Maddy right now, you really need to pray. Same with HZ, as here we go, headed into this final drop here. This is where all the marbles are in. They have basically had each other by the necks this entire map, and it's all gonna come down to this section right here. And right now, Maddy with a bit of an accuracy drop, but nothing too much, as there is still more of these. But if we don't see anything on the side of HZ, then... But we see that drop! Hold on! Everyone, just... Oh my god, 318 points! What the hell's happening? Oh my god! Dude! I'm gonna lose my voice eventually. What is happening? Maddy with a V1 double S just to set the record straight. How the hell? That is insane. That is an insane score. And hz with a singular 200 as well. These two players, like I said, have had each other by the neck this entire match. And this is the closest we've seen. 318 points. As it is a match point situation for hz. I would not be surprised if we see a timeout come out here for hz. As there is 2 Rice picks still remaining on the board. I don't think they would want to opt for Hybrid 3. I think maybe Rice 2 would be hz's option here to try to close things out here. We're gonna have to see here. I feel like this is where, like I said, this is probably where timeouts are gonna come out. Probably need to take a step back just to breathe, get a drink of water or something. I don't know what these players do. As we're gonna see Rice 1 come out for hz's final pick of this match. Which makes sense, honestly. It was either this or Rice 2. And hz is looking to close things out here and punch their ticket into a guaranteed podium spot, while Maddy is looking to do what? The 3rd Cinderella story we've seen from her? It's been a lot. But there is still plenty of game left to be played here. Do not count anybody out just yet. Just like what someone said in the chat right now, don't let your guard down. There is still map left to go. As here we go, underway with Rice 1 here. This is a fairly pretty tricky map. It's also quite short, only 2 minutes. But we have seen hz's pattern with Rice maps, especially on these more bursty ones. But it's just hz needs to, like, rule 1 for hz, they cannot afford any form of break, as that is that have been very crucial moments in this match, is when those breaks come out. And right now, only about 900s of a percentage to separate these two, as hz just doing hz things at this point. But Maddy managing to keep hz on their tail, as we still have a lot of this map left to go, but Maddy's going to pick up a few 200s here. That will swing the lead to around 4,000 points in favor of hz. As some of these fast bursts come out, no one's going to get caught up by that. A little bit of a speed up. As these more elongated streams come out here, here come some of the bursts that are pretty choke heavy if you're not careful. But right now, no one finding anything whatsoever. And it has been full hz as Maddy picks up a break. And it's 20,000 points in favor of hz heading into the final section of this map. But there is still a map left to go, but we're gonna have to see something fast come out of hz. There are still bursts, but I don't think there's any time left to go. As, ladies and gentlemen, one hell of a historic run Sleeby Maddy has had in the winners bracket. It has been an absolute journey for her in this winners bracket. An emotional roller coaster from her to her opponents to the staff here in the booth. It has been an absolute hell of a journey, and it's still going to go on. We still have plenty left to go. And this was a very close match, very it could have went either way, but HZ going to be the winner here, winning 6-3, will guarantee themselves a podium spot on the JOKE4 podium, I guess. Trademark. But unfortunately, we are going to see Sleeby Maddy drop down to that loser's bracket. But she went out with a bang and a half. 2 tiebreakers back to back. First of all, both of them were from behind. One was an upset. Nearly pulled off the upset against HZ. Was almost there, but unfortunately didn't happen. But still, one hell of an effort from Maddy. One historical performance, and it's still going to go on in that loser's bracket. She'll either have to verse Minieg, Assail, Zubin, or Minus. Those matches will happen later on this weekend. And for Peaceful and Wowie, that was a 6-1 win for Peaceful, as they will move on to their conditional match against either Arafion or M-Biscuit. And that will conclude this short little block we had, or the short little doubleheader we had, as we will wrap things up and call that this little doubleheader. We will be back in just about 16 hours from now, so that'll be 18:30 UTC, so a long way from now for our next match, which will be a loser's bracket match, Zubin versus Minus. As for now, I've been Air Sunny. You already know the drill. Bye.